Hi, this is Travis Rogers, CEO of RecordLinc, talking about our disaster recovery plan. So a little bit on RecordLinc. Really we're a dental HIPAA-compliant doctor-doctor communication tool, much more to it than just that, but that's a quick overview. We'll save that for the marketing presentation. But really, I wanted to go through our disaster recovery plan. I have our CTO, Paul Romanek, on the line. And Paul, I'm going to kick it over to you to kind of go through our infrastructure and what we do from a disaster recovery perspective.
Hi, everybody. My name is Paul Romanek, the CTO, and I'm going to give you a brief overview of our infrastructure. There is some sensitive information in here, so some of it is not going to be very specific, but that is due to our security. We will talk about our primary site being Omnis Data Center in Tempe, Arizona. That is a compliant Tier 3 facility where we host all of our primary data. Now, depending on where the secondary location is going to be, will be based off of the RTO product that you choose. Certain products with like a 0 RTO recovery time objective, we're going to be into Tier 3 and 4 facilities. 24-hour and 8-hour RTO products can be in Tier 2 facilities. Here we have an example of a vendor, Novalet, that we use. They are a 8-hour RTO product, and their primary data center is in Kansas City. Below, you're going to see an example of infrastructure that we have at each data center. So here you're going to see that on the Omnis Data Center that we're running 3 Dell R610s. Those are only using the hypervisor on the local drive. All else data will be contained on a SAN that has 0 single points of failures. This is an iSCSI Dell MD3200i. You'll see on the front end of our infrastructure, we use a WatchGuard Firebox M200. We are up to on the latest software from WatchGuard. We also have the capabilities of doing site-to-site VPN tunnels. You can see our network is a layer 3 with DDoS protection. We actually blend 2 10-gig circuits using BGP, and then we have a carrier that will actually take any dirty traffic and scrub it immediately, causing 0 downtime in the event that there is a DDoS attack. Backup and recovery, again, as I mentioned, depending on what your RTO is, your recovery time objective will kind of dictate which product we recommend to meet your needs. On the next slide, we're just talking a little bit about our data center here. Again, this is our primary site, Omnis, in Tempe, Arizona. We have multiple feeds coming in. It's 24/7 with man. Power is N+2, and they're using Liebert for cooling. They are blending more than one carrier, and they have multiple carriers for cross contention. Fire and suppression systems all included. The network is a 1 gig backbone, as I mentioned, BGP, layer 3, blended ISPs, the ability to do secure tunnels, and we do offer DDoS, all included in it. Servers, we typically break our servers up into application, database, and integration. This is an example of some of the services that would be running on each one. We do run other databases besides SQL, and we do run other hypervisor than just EXXI, which is VMware and Hyper-V. On the application side, we do Linux and Windows as well, making sure that we pick the best product. We really consider ourselves agnostics when it comes to hardware, software, and even networking. Security, we always try to choose for primary sites, or our primary sites are always Tier 3 and Tier 4 data centers. SSAE 16 and HIPAA compliant. Always have 24/7 on-site monitoring and personnel. 2-factor authentication policy for any of our services, and we encrypt with 256-bit SSL. WatchGuard is our primary firewall. Backup and recovery, as we mentioned, recovery time objectives, we can actually meet a 0, 3 and 8, and a 24-hour. And as you would imagine, the smaller the RTO, typically the higher the cost. Application servers, we typically recommend at least a 24-hour RTO. Management servers, we recommend at least 3 hour, and database zero, and that's something that we tend to eat our own dog food on, meaning we always have a 24-hour on our application, a 3 on management, and 0 on our databases. Single points of failure in the software side, absolutely none. Hardware, we always carry spare hard drives on no matter what primary site we're at. So in the example of the Dell R610s, they take the 2.5-inch drives. We will send that site with an additional 2 drives. ISP is through the blended BGP, and we always make sure that we have a back-end pfSense firewall running in the event that our WatchGuards fail. Procedures 1 or 2. I'm not going to get too many of these, but we can't give out too much information, again, due to security, but we always have documented both hardware and software our procedures in the event of failure. We classify different failures, and different failures will then flag a different procedure. But this would be an example of a system administrator or a data center operator, depending on the level of the failure that they would go ahead and execute. The last thing that we always have in our DR plan is both our vendor and our internal private contact list. This is including Skype, live chat, personal phone numbers, cell phone numbers, and email addresses. So as you can see here at RecordLinc, we take disaster recovery and what we consider high availability as one of our highest priorities. If you find that you have any additional questions, please reach out to myself or Travis. Thank you, guys.